Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. Well, fellas, I'm back on this Parker intake. Yeah, Parker. And it's starting to shape up. And it looks like it would make pretty big power. But yeah, I got it all cut back here and knife edged and all the tricks you do, fellas. I'm lying to you guys. Anybody that does this stuff intentionally, knife edging, gets the runners all thinned out like that, it's not helping anything, fellas. Making the ports real big, it's not helping anything unless you have a head that's calling for some serious flow. If you have like a stock type head, ported, like an E7 or a GT40, anything along that lines, an intake like this here is not going to help. Why am I doing this? Well, guys, I don't know if you can see. I got the plenum all cut out. What I'm doing here, guys, I'm straightening the runners out. That's all I'm doing here. I'm not winding up with anything as far as porting. I'm just trying to move these balls into the plenum right here. These runners came all the way out to here, into the middle right here, about to here, and I cut all this back. And I moved these back. These stuck way out to the plenum, about, well, a good inch or so. And I cut all this back. And the reason is for that is because these two center runners are stealing all the air. So now I have it where these runners here are going to intercept the air off the plenum right here. So whenever you guys are porting an intake, if you just take the time to round all your stuff in, like your floor, and round all this in and taper it in from the top, this is where you're going to pick up. Making that port larger, most of the time, it's not going to help anybody. It's not going to do anything unless you have a head calling for extra volume. I have to laugh. I watch people make a big deal about thinking they're going to make big power with something like this here. And guys, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be hours filling some of this stuff back in with epoxy. I'm doing what I have to do here to make it how I need it to be. This isn't because I'm porting it big like this here, because this is all getting back probably smaller than it was originally. Because part of the problem with the Parker, it's actually too big. Look, guys, I'm going to show you what I wind up with. I don't know if you can see or not. When I put the spacer, let me try a different spacer so you can see, just to give you an idea of what I'm going to be doing here. You can see how the runner comes right off the plenum. That was the problem with the Parker. So when I put the new plenum on, it's going to be overlapping that, where that will be back. So it will have tendency, the air won't be able to run straight back. It's going to be more directed. And then I'm going to have the new plenum tapered back. I'm trying to find something to give you an idea, guys. It's going to be on the lines of this. So it'll be tapered back where it's going to make the air feed back this way. It will favor these end runners. The design on this Parker is wrong. And there's no way of making it right except doing things like I'm doing here. That's the only way of correcting it. And I don't want to get all technical, but these intakes have a lot of reversion in them too. Almost all this type intakes right here, all the open plenum intakes, excuse me guys, getting cotton mouth here, in the garage with no drink. All the open plenums usually have a reversion when they're on the forward side because it's just how it is. The air just can't feed these runners correct. And it causes a reversion where it actually sucks back through the runner. And I've proven that. I didn't put it on any segments, but I've tested it. And it's not good, guys. If you put tape over the runners and put air through it, you'll see the two end runners will suck the air right back and it will blow them out here, blow the tape back out. So I don't want to get into any debates about that. It's what I found. It's what I don't like. And people will think, well, these Parkers make power. They do make power. And the problem is, it's not the power that's the problem. That's not why I'm doing this. This is an air and fuel mixture that is not good. The runners are lean in one runner, it's rich in the other runner, and that is the worst scenario you can have. People can think what they want to. That's just my thinking. And I would not have all these hours in this intake if it wasn't for that reason. Because the car went 10s, and it was a stock 302 with this intake and stock bottom end with trick flow heads. So that's not the problem. Once again, it's not a power problem. It is a fuel and air problem. And I mean, some guys might think that's okay, and that's fine. If that's okay with somebody, then that's going to save them a lot of work, because I'm going to tell you something, fellas. If I ever have this problem again with any kind of intake, unless it's $1,000 intake, I'll put it in the garbage first. I'll never ever put this much time into a mess like this ever again. But guys, I hope you can tell what I've done as far as these runners did not intercept in the plenum before. So it's a lot of work, and cutting back, getting the air up in here. And guys, this is all you need to do when you port an intake. Porting an intake, I'm going to take that back. Working an intake. That's the word I like using when I do something like this here. It's working an intake. You always want to get the runner as straight as you can, and that's what I'm working on. And like I said, I curve everything in so the air can swoop around, or sweep around, however you want to pronounce it. And this is what I believe in. I widened the floor a little bit here, and the main reason is on this. I don't know if it shows up, guys. This floor is in such an angle, and the principle of that is to get the air to turn. It's nonsense. This is creating more of a draw and causing the reversion, because the air is trying to move around that runner, and it can't do it because it's getting pinched up because it has a low spot like a ditch. And that's what's causing that. Now, that's my opinion. I don't have any magic wands or a crystal ball to prove that's what the problem is, but what else would be causing that reversion except for the air can't move through this runner? So, to me, that is what would be the problem. The floor is on a ramp, and the air is trying to move through this runner, and it can't do it because these are hogging it. And then this is trying to pull through what it can, and It's not good. But anyway, guys, I hope you can see what I'm talking about. On a normal intake, that's how that would be. That this runner right here would be back underneath the plenum some. It would be about that much. So that prevents the two runners from robbing the air by that overhang. And that's what I'm going to do when I'm finished and get a lot of work done to this. And this is a lot of work, guys. I don't know if you can tell. I cut it all back. And this side here, I'm going to leave because it's not too bad. Once I did all the work to it and I started getting the wall out into the plenum, there's no sense in me cutting this whole top off here because once I'm done modifying this, it'll be fine. So a lot of guys would say, well, you might as well just cut it all the way off now. No, I have enough hours in on this already, and it would not be easier for me to cut this off and then make all this back. It's easier for me to just straighten everything out and put the runners where I want and then epoxy it and then weld a new plenum on top, a new spacer rather, whatever you want to call it. And because that's what I'm going to be using, guys. I don't know what one to go with yet. I'm kind of undecided. I thought about maybe actually going with the 4-hole because that also directs the air straight down. And then with this type here, I showed you guys before, you can remove the center and take it out. I could remove the center if I had to. So don't forget you have an insert that goes in here, fellas, on this one here. So otherwise it would be like that, but it will be like this with the insert in it. So yeah, I just thought I'd show you guys this. It's been a while. I had to give myself a break from this thing, and I'm still going to have a lot more to do to this because I'm only hammering this a little bit at night. And be honest, guys, when I start messing with this thing, it takes me all I have not to walk away from it every time I start on this intake. But I just wanted to bring that to people's attention because everybody, they see ported intakes and you think, oh wow, let me knife edge this. I seen a guy going specifically and showing how to knife edge a runner. I've said it before, guys, if you round this off, the air can move around it easier than trying to slice through it. I don't know how much it affects it, but all I know is this. It's not going to do a whole lot of good by knife edging it. It's all to do with the shape of the runner, and it's all to do with the area that you have is how much air is going to flow through that port and how much your engine's calling for. If you have a 302 engine, then unless you're turning that thing a high RPM, this intake is actually too much. I'd be surprised if anybody has said, yeah, I've had that Parker on there and it picked up from a dual plane. If they had a small head, if they had like a high flowing Victor head, then yes, that's fine. But if they have a stock type head just ported, I'd be very surprised if that worked out in their best interest. But I mean, it also depends on the camshaft, and if they had the compression up, that would help, and then it would accommodate it more, things like that. So I don't need bunch of people jumping on here and say, oh, my friend had that. He went that fast with it. And that's not what this is about, guys. I'm trying to show that people get too carried away porting. And it's not the porting. It's straightening the runner and just getting it where the air can move out smooth and with less restriction. And that's more important. If you just get in there and open these runners up and don't correct where the air comes in, like on a plenum, the way this was before, it came in, went way down, and then it came back up again. That's what they do on most of the intakes like this. The LS intake was like that. This intake's like that. And what they do, they put a lot of metal in here, and they just machine the intake. They don't care about that. They depend on other people doing work to their product. I mean, most of the time, the company's just out to sell basically whatever they have. I mean, if it's a RPM intake or the Victor, they're going to have rough casting in them. So if somebody puts that on out of the box, they're leaving some restriction in the intake because, like I said, it's not about hogging it out. It's just about making it better in the bad areas. And I've had intakes where you look down through them and they don't look that bad till you start straightening one spot out, and then you'll see where it needs to be straightened out the rest of the way through the runner. All right, guys, I hope this is somewhat helpful to somebody. That's what I try to always do, is make it where somebody might have something like this here and thinking they need to make it all hogged out, and they're going to pick up and think you're going to go out there and, oh, I got this ported intake now, and now this thing's going to fly. I want to stress this, fellas, because my friend did this. He had Victor heads, and then he put an intake on, a Victor intake, and then he went and had it all ported after he had ran the car, and the car did not pick up anything after all that work. So that's why I try to stop you guys from making mistakes like that. So you might say, well, I did that and my car did pick up. Well, I hope it did. Anything you guys do and put time into, I hope it works out for you. I just give you the other side of the coin, fellas. That's all I do. I just try to give you the knowledge that I have and the mistakes I've made and the things I've seen with other people. And I've seen a lot. Some of the things I know about, it's not because of me. It's because of what I've seen people do, the mistakes they've made and spend money, and they gained absolutely nothing from it. So that's why I try to stop you guys from doing. But anyway, fellas, have a good night, and thank you for checking this segment out. I appreciate it, guys. Take care.